Hi all, and welcome to yarnspirations.com. Let's talk about knitting decreases, specifically left leaning, right leaning, and why you should care. So the most common decrease that you see is a knit two together. And to make a knit two together, we are literally going to go through two stitches as if they were one. So insert your right hand needle tip through both stitches at the same time. Yarn over and pull through both. When you pull it through, you will knock both stitches off the left hand needle at the same time. Let's do that one more time. Just through two stitches at the same time. Knit them as if they were one and push them off the left hand needle. Now these are what's referred to as a right leaning decrease, because as you can see, here are my not decreased stitches that are standing tall, but the knit two togethers slant slightly to the right. So the stitch that is on the top leans towards the right. Generally speaking, that's the most common right leaning decrease and the one you'll see most often. However, there's several variations on the left leaning decrease. The most common is SSK, which stands for slip, slip, knit. Now you want to slip the stitches individually. So slip one knitwise, slip the second knitwise. Now watch, I'm going to put my left hand needle tip through both stitches that were on the right hand needle and knit them together essentially through the back loops. So that is a left leaning decrease, and you can see that it is angled to the left. Let's try that one more time. Slip one knitwise, slip the second knitwise, take your left hand needle tip, bring it back into the two stitches that you just slipped that are on your right hand needle, yarn over and pull through both of those stitches at the same time and take them off the left hand needle. So that is a left leaning decrease, an SSK. Now some people like to do slip the first one knitwise and slip the second one purlwise. Same thing, knit them together essentially through the back loop. Because some people feel that that lays a little flatter. Now I, for one, do not see a ginormous difference. I can see that being infinitesimally flatter. So if you prefer to do slip the first one knitwise, slip the second one purlwise, you can certainly do that. The very last one is knit two together through back loop. So you just, instead of doing the slipping, you just knit through the back loop those two stitches together. Now, this is also left leaning, but you can see that the legs are slightly crossed. So I don't like to use that one. That is not my favorite one. I prefer the SSK, but you may have your own preferences. Now, why would you want one over another? There's two reasons. One is if you're working on a seam, so you have decreases on the outer edges. Say you were making, you were cutting in armholes into this piece. So this armhole is going to start on this side and go up, and you would want a left leaning decrease here because it will keep the seam flatter. The selvage will be flatter when you have to go in there and sew it together. And on this side, I might want a right leaning decrease because that's the direction in which the decreases are traveling. Once again, will give me a flatter edge and a less bulky seam. When you're decreasing inside the work, which is known as a fully fashioned decrease, you're going to want to use a right leaning or a left leaning depending on what the pattern's telling you. But in lace stitches, in cable stitches, you want the decrease to go in the direction that the work is traveling. So it's generally speaking not a great idea to interchange a knit two together, which is a right leaning decrease, with an SSK, which is a left leaning decrease, because your work will not be smooth. However, you can change out the left leaning decreases between each other. So if you want to do the SSK with the purl as the second slip, or you want to go ahead and do that knit two together through the back loop, you can change those out to whichever stitch you're most comfortable with. but don't switch right leaning with left leaning, particularly where work is traveling, where stitches are traveling, like in cables, or in lace work where you want everything to be delicate and flat. Thanks so much for joining us here on yarnspirations.com. I hope this helped you differentiate between right leaning and left leaning knit decreases. Come see us again soon.